Welcome to Game Crunch Game of the Year 2021. With Mike.
Don't listen to his siren song. Do not.
With Brandon.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
And Nick.
Man, that could have got really bad.
There are many great games, but only one can be the best. Only one can be Game of the Year.
Welcome to Game Crunch Game of the Year 2021. My name is Mike Anastasia. With me today we have Nick.
Hi.
And Brandon.
Yo!
And we are here for another fun day of Game of the Year categories. We got a bunch of new categories for you today. We'll let you know when they are spoilers. And like always, these categories, it's majority rules. There will be one winner that takes the category and two runners up. You guys ready to get into it?
Yeah.
All right, next category. Best new IP. We've got 4 nominees. Deathloop, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, Inscription.
Inscription.
And It Takes Two.
Inscription.
Let's actually pronounce it correctly, my dude. Come on.
Okay, so there you are. I got nothing to add in this category, so you got to sell me on it. This is AKA
I didn't
Best
put
New
anything on
IP,
either.
also known as Brandon's category.
Yeah, I had to list everything because no one else could come up with anything.
Actually, I added the last two, but they were games I didn't play.
Yeah.
Oh, there.
Yeah, as far as this category goes, I actually think there's a pretty clear-cut winner.
Okay.
But it also makes me worried because I feel like they could milk it and it could cause a lot of trouble.
Okay.
Not sure if they could capture lightning in a bottle twice, but I think the clear-cut winner for best new IP is Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh.
Yeah. I think they did such a great job capturing all the characters and making them their own and giving them their own story that it almost feels like something that's just such a big surprise and such a fresh take on the series in general. And I quite liked it. So now, I mean, Deathloop, Inscription, and It Takes Two are all great in their own right. But at the end of the day, when I look at this, I'm like, what do I think has more stories to tell? And if not, like, milked dry to the bone would be a really great IP.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy for me.
Okay. So, did you play that game, right?
Yes, I played everything that's on this list.
Oh, okay, perfect. So you're better than me. Did you finish it?
No, but I got about 6 hours in, somewhere in there. Yes, that's how many. The thing is, I know it's like a 10-hour game, and I'm seeing enough information on backstories and stuff from interacting with different things that, like, you could easily do like a prequel where it kind of, you're not just dropped in the middle of their story that's already ongoing.
Mm-hmm,
You know, like, obviously you do have the moments here where you just kind of are back in time as Peter Quill before the Guardians of the Galaxy are formed. Which is a big moment, like a big thing about this game. So it's like very far back flashbacks, but like an in between, like the Guardians of the Galaxy being formed for the first time, something like that, and playing through that, or like even collecting them for the first time, kind of like how you would in Mass Effect. 'Cause this game already kind of plays like Mass Effect, but as like a cover shooter with less RPG things, but you still have the Mass Effect selections of, oh, this player will remember that, and oh, this choice matters, and this, that, and the other, and all that stuff. And I think if you did something like that and expanded upon it more and went to a different portion of the Guardians of the Galaxy's life, like going around as Peter Quill, you know, recruiting these people and to your team, and that sort of thing, I think that would be really cool to experience, and I think that would make a really neat, like, sequel to this, like a sequel prequel sort of deal. So that's where I stand. Like, obviously we've seen the movies, but they did so much different things here from the movies that I think they could do their own take on a, like, origin story sort of deal. So that's where I stand.
Okay.
On this entire category. Deathloop, it's a good game. It's a good game. I think it overstayed its welcome before it was over. So I actually don't want to see more of it, and that's a big problem for me. The general mechanics of Deathloop kind of get in the way of the story it's trying to tell, and that's an issue. So there's that. Inscription is a complete story, and it's a great one at that. However, there are already too many things that are centered around card games on the market, and even though it's not fully a card game, and to say any more would be to do a disservice to Inscription. I think the fact that you start with that mechanic in Inscription is enough alone for me to be like, I don't know if they could do all the surprises they did a second time. They'd probably have to do something like other people did with a game called Frog Fractions, where they released the sequel to that game and another completely unrelated game without telling anyone how to get to it. Mm-hmm. If something like that was done for Inscription, that would be mind-blowing. But I don't think you could do something like that. So, I mean, like, some of these are just kind of, you've experienced them, and you can kind of move on from it. And I don't think Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy is that. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's my pick, and why it's the clear-cut winner. The others are just kind of here so I could talk. It Takes Two is also on this list, which is also a great game, but It Takes Two is just a more refined and a better-made version of A Way Out. So if you played A Way Out, this is a way better, way more refined, way more interesting version of that game, because it has the same kind of general mechanic where it's like split down the middle, two players playing at the same time. You can see each other's point of view, whatnot, and that aspect of it's really cool. And it's just overall, a lot of the ideas and really weird things that happen in the game are super neat and interesting. But It Takes Two feels like It Takes Two is already unique enough that if they tried to make something else like it, I'd be like, oh, okay. So we're just doing It Takes Two again. It's kind of like how Breath of the Wild was unique when it first came out, and then it's like, oh no, now I can't walk 3 feet without stepping in a Breath of the Wild clone.
It's interesting that you say that, because I feel like not many people have copied their formula yet, because
really,
like, I don't think not Breath of the Wild, for It Takes Two and A Way Out.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I meant, because I've never seen anybody else do what they're doing.
That's why I said I think it should stand on its own, and that's it. I don't think it needs another. I don't think it needs to continue. I don't think it needs to be like, this is an IP, we can add on to it. I don't really think in that terms. I think what we've already got there is, that is it. We're good. We're done. I've had that experience. It was great. Moving on.
I mean, you really can't make us, because what are you going to call it? It Takes Two?
It takes
there
three.
Are some things left unsaid about the game.
Well, It Takes Two is so good, whereas It Takes One is the sequel.
Well, do you know the actual plot behind It Takes Two?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, okay.
I'm just being an asshole.
I mean, it could have been It Takes One if they did get divorced.
It should be like a sequel where it's like, it takes a village. It's like a bunch of people that you have to control. It's like a what the fuck? Battle Royale.
Village is like
it's a battle royale.
It's
100 people.
So yeah, my pick for this is very simple, very easy. Marvel Guardians of the Galaxy. So
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy. Gardens of the Galaxy.
So I vote for Inscription Takes It, with runners up It Takes Two and Deathloop.
Really? Why is that? Oh, okay.
Because you voted Guardians of the Galaxy.
I'm just trying to move on from this category to something more interesting. That's all.
No, I know. I really don't have any say. So I mean, I am more than willing to agree with you.
Nick, how do you feel?
I mean, I don't have really any horse in this race, but I will say I agree with the things that you said, at least about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really don't have any strong feeling towards any of these games here, because I haven't played any of them.
So, all right, I will say this. The reason why I don't think you could do what Inscription did and make another or continue the IP or whatever, and that it's a lightning in the bottle sort of deal, is essentially Inscription is an ARG as a video game.
Mm-hmm.
And like saying that right there, can you think of how you would play that game?
Yes.
How would you play that game?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Physical cards.
That's smart. That is smart. They kind of tackle that, and we'll talk about that during best story, because Inscription's coming back for that one, and I want you guys to listen because Inscription's story is fucking brilliant. So
okay,
moving on. I'm done. That's it.
All right. So we're done with the category.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Best new IP goes to Guardians of the Galaxy. What we said runners up were?
Inscription and It Takes Two.
And runners up Inscription and It Takes Two. There you go.
I just can't. I can't do Deathloop. I can't do it. It outstayed its welcome before the credits rolled. And I've seen so many other people comment that since playing the game. Like a lot of people went out and bought it after it got such high praise, and so many people were talking great about it. And it's like the acting, great. The world, great. Actually playing the game, kind of a chore.
That does happen sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel too like this had the same problem for me that like Watch Dogs 1 did, where like it was pushed so many times that like by the time it finally comes out, I'm just like, I don't care anymore.
That's how I felt about Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, which is why I was so blown away by just how good it was.
But I feel like Guardians of the Galaxy was just shown. We saw it so much because it was shown off at E3 originally, right?
Yeah.
E3, Nintendo conference, Xbox conference, Sony conference, E3 again.
But that's the Well,
times.
Guardians of the Galaxy was announced this year.
It was announced last year, and it was it was announced at the beginning of last year. Sorry, you know what? It was multiple summer games done quick because we didn't have E3 last year. That's what it was.
Was it?
That's why I was confused.
Oh, you know what? Was it first announced at that Summer Games Done Quick is the speedrunning game? It was first announced at Jeff Keighley's Summer Games Electric Boogaloo.
Summer Games Fest. I'm so sorry.
Summer Games Fest the first time, which is fine. But then what happened is that since
Square Enix had their own showing, and they did it there.
E3 is so broken up now.
Yes,
is that it was shown off at Square Enix thing. It was shown off at PlayStation's thing. It was shown off at Nintendo's thing. It was shown off at so like we just saw it multiple times in like the same stretch of 2 months.
Yeah.
Whereas like Watch Dogs got pushed off for 3 years, and I think we kept seeing it at like major E3 conferences. We're like, all right, this again. So like I don't know. I think one was more rapid, whereas one was more a slow burn.
Totally fair. Yeah.
I really don't dislike it when they do that too. Where they do like, hey, let's show this game at every single conference.
Yep.
It's like
nothing new to say.
Yeah, it's almost virtually the same trailers even.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
Not a fan.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But that's what surprised me so much, and what made it like I kind of was blown away that it was so good.
I was more blown away because it was a Square Enix Marvel game.
Yeah. I think they got the good team to work on it, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they got the Deus Ex people, didn't they? This was the Deus Ex people, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And not Deus Ex Light, where it was Eidos, sorta, kind of, but contractors make Marvel game. Oh, Verizon, here's a costume.
It was contractors, and Eidos was like walking up to the door every once in a while, just looking.
Hey, can we work on the game? Like, no, nothing to see here. No, nothing to see here. Add 10 more microtransactions.
Yeah. So,
anyways, you all ready for the next category?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, next category: best new series entry.
Mm-hmm.
5 nominees: Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, Halo Infinite, Metroid Dread, Tales of Arise, and No More Heroes 3.
I'm going to go ahead and just get this out of the way. Metroid Dread is the best new series entry out of all of these. Yes.
That's
correct.
I think we're taking this one.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Unless Brandon has something to say about No More Heroes 3 or Halo Infinite that maybe I don't know anything about.
I think I put No More Hero 3 on the list myself.
I think you did too. So I was going to say, I feel like No More Heroes 3 is exactly what I wanted, basically. but there's so people that wanted exactly what I wanted. So it's very hard to make that argument. You know what I mean?
I was like, what you want?
It's like, damn, that's what I wanted. And I also feel the same way. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put this out here right now. I 100% agree with both of you. Metroid Dread wins this by far.
Okay.
But my runners-up might surprise you.
Okay.
My runners-up are No More Heroes 3, obviously,
Mhm.
and Tales of Arise.
Okay.
Tales of Arise did so well, made such a good fucking game that I forgive them for their last 3 Tales games that they've made.
See, that's me, but with Halo Infinite.
Really?
Halo Infinite made me care about Halo again.
Did you play the campaign?
I didn't need to. The multiplayer is great.
You know what? That's fair. I played the campaign. That's the only reason why I can't give it to Halo Infinite.
That's fair. I wasn't expecting anything good out of the campaign, but I was expecting a good multiplayer, and guess what I got? Just that. I used to not like ever since Halo 4 came out and up, I was like, I don't care about Halo anymore. Then true. Infinite came out, I'm like, this multiplayer, as shitty as the progression system is fun.
I grinded it out for 8 hours last night so I could finish off one of the progression missions.
Yes.
It was bad. It was bad. It hurt. I was in pain by the end of it. And you know, I might be a little bit salty that I grinded for 8 hours in Halo Infinite less than like 12 hours ago. So that might be where my anger for that's coming from.
Also fair.
But Tales of Arise, its combat system, its characters, its world, and its story is actually incredibly good. And like the side stuff you can do feels more akin to something like a Yakuza game than it would like, you know, like do 800 fetch quests, that sort of thing. Like to the point where like I've heard from several people, I haven't completed this part myself, but I've heard from several people that they even went and did all the fishing quest because it was that good.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like, that's kind of crazy. But just in general, the way the combat system works here, where you're controlling multiple characters at once, but like you also kind of have some input on the way you do it and whatnot, like face buttons or where it's at. It reminded me a lot of the Tales game that was on GameCube, but really, really fucking pretty. And also, I can play as a woman that can fucking manifest a sniper rifle out of thin air. And like that right there, you got a sniper that fires magic. I'm kind of like, yeah, it is kind of like a certain magical index. I see you also have good taste. But yeah, that's kind of sick. And then like the general story for Tales of Arise is kind of like you've got a group of people who can use magic and a group of people who can't. And then there's also a big fucking continent, and it's split up into 5 different places, like quadrants, and each one of them are like finding some way to try to get the most power and energy out of their people to become the next ruler of like the kingdom and that sort of thing. And like all the power and energy goes into this crystal, and that crystal is like the power that's given to the next kingdom's ruler, and that's how they like rule with an iron fist over the entire like kingdom and everything. It's like really neat. And you have some that are like doing it in kind of like a dictator way, and some that are doing it in a different way, and some that maybe are being sneaky pieces of shit and doing this and that and the other. And like even the first guy that you deal with, he's like hooked up these magical jewels to everyone, and then he has them going and working for him in the mines and stuff. So he essentially made his people into slaves. And they think they're mining materials to keep their continent, like, afloat and that sort of thing. And later on in the story, you find out, no, those jewels are actually siphoning life out of them. So it's killing them slowly, but they produce more life energy as they're doing hard work and labor. So he's able to kill off his people quicker and harvest their energy by the jewels that he's implanted into them, but they think those jewels are there to make it so that they can work harder, so they can get the materials that the kingdom and the country actually needs. So they're doing it for one reason, but they know they're slaves, but that's not actually the reason they're doing it. And then there's like a revolt, and you're part of the revolt, and yada yada. And it's just little neat ideas like that are kind of different from your normal like fantasy world, this sort of thing. Big scary monster, da da da. Like the monster is people in this game, basically. It kind of has like a
people.
Yeah, right. And I just thought it was really well written, really well made, and awesome. So
The
Tales of
story
Arise.
vaguely reminds me of Tales of Symphonia.
And that is what Tales of Arise is. It is that what do you call it? It's that franchise.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
Okay. So that's why I was trying to say, like, yes, that does sound like Tales of Symphonia, but like, what other game lately has sounded like something like that? And then all the other elements in it that I'm just spoiling the very beginning right now. But like all the other elements of it where it's like some people have magic, some people have the technology, and yada yada yada, blah blah blah, and it's a war between the two factions, and it's really neat the different weapons that different people on different sides have and how you can bring each one of them into your party. It's just good. It's just really fucking good. So yeah.
Okay.
Play it. But I mean, I'm done babbling. Metroid Dread wins.
Well, I mean, we have to talk about the other games. So, No More
Do we
Heroes
need to?
3. Yeah.
Okay.
We still have to decide the runners up, regardless.
I just said No More Heroes 3 and Tales of Arise.
What
I
about
can put a
Nick?
stamp on it.
Nick's got opinions.
Does he?
Do I?
I got opinions.
Do I have opinions?
Jesus, Brandon.
I do. Actually, I did put down 2 of the games. So I do.
I'm just messing with you. I just wanted to get my opinion out of the way. That way, you could hear me talk for like 10 minutes and then go away.
Just my thoughts on No More Heroes 3. This game did take me a little bit to get into, so it does have some issues with it. Honestly, I thought it worked better in No More Heroes 2 when there wasn't an overworld, because it's overworld in these games is just boring, and it's still boring here. Like, they really do much to do it, and it was a slower, glitchy mess. It does have some repetitive stuff with like the different missions you have to do to like progress the story. Those are kind of like grindy, but I think they're more interesting than what they had
in the first
No More
game.
Heroes 1 and 2.
Yeah. It
'Cause at
feels
least-
like an evolution of No More Heroes 1 and 2, and I dig that.
Yeah, and I do like the aspects that they took from Travis Strikes Again, like with I don't know what it was, the fucking switch controller that's attached to your arm or whatever. Because I think
That
those
glove,
were, like,
is that what we're talking about?
the power death glove or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I think that was like some interesting mechanics. Like, I like the way, like, the game, like the battle system for this game was fun, and I really enjoyed that. And I thought I had some really fun boss battles. Story is fucking out there, but I mean, it's Suda.
Yeah.
It always is. So I like that. I mean, overall, I just thought it was a really fun game. And once I got into it and understood the mechanics more, like, I did really enjoy it was there. I said it was a bit repetitive, but I thought it was a great series entry for what they had there. And just to talk super briefly about Metroid Dread, just because it is winning this category, I feel like we should at least explain why, even though we've kind of touched on in the last couple of categories that it's been in. But I mean, it is a return to form, basically, to Super Metroid. Not handholdy. It's got a great world to explore. It has some interesting new abilities. It tweaks some of the stuff that like was interesting in some of the other games and makes it relevant again, like the melee combat, or like even some of the being hunted aspects of it that we had in like Fusion, or even some degree, I guess, some of the like Metroid Prime, like with the Dark Samus stuff. That's all interesting, and I think they did a really great job putting it all together and wrapping this story up with what they had there. So I mean, it definitely is an absolutely incredible new series entry. So I don't know if there's any more you guys want to say about either of those, but
no, I mean,
I had to talk about. So
everything about it was really good.
I mean, yeah, I feel that like same exact way, especially because I replayed 1 Super, and I played what was it? I played one other one. I forget which one it was, but whatever.
You played 2, right? Right?
Yeah. After playing those and then like going to this, like, it definitely feels like more of a spiritual successor to Super more than anything. and it was exactly what I wanted from the game. It definitely lightened up a bit of the things that I didn't like so much from the remake of 2, with all the parrying and all that,
Mm-hmm.
and definitely made it a bit more palatable. And was just like literally everything that I wanted from the game I got. So it just made me really happy to see, and also made me happy to see that it sold very well. So hopefully they care.
It sold very well.
Which I don't know if you guys saw recently. If I could just go off really quick, there was an article that came out that the director of Metroid Dread basically got to sell the concept of the game to Nintendo, because he was like, "Hey, look how good all these Metroidvanias are doing, and like they're selling so
That's
well."
pretty good.
So then they were like, "All right, well, let's give it a shot," and it paid off. So yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
All right, and I guess Halo Infinite and Ratchet and Clank.
I put Ratchet and Clank on there. Ratchet and Clank, as far as like that game series goes for me, I haven't played many of them. But I did enjoy the reimagining, the remake, or whatever it was that came out on PS4 a while ago. So I was definitely interested in playing this one. Honestly, it's not the best game I've played in a while, but it is still a very, very good game, a very strong game, and a very strong entry to the Ratchet and Clank series. And I still consider it, like, if you are one of the people that has a PS5, like, I would definitely put it on your radar to play. Like, I would definitely give it a play.
Absolutely.
So, liked it a lot. Very beautiful. Uses a lot of, like, I think I talked about it last time, where I considered it not really a PS5 game in essence. And what I mostly meant by that is the environments themselves, to me, don't seem like anything too impressive or new. But the details and the effects that they can put into the game is really where you see a lot of the next-gen technology kind of come through. And you see that a lot with, like, the guns and the environments, like the particle effects and whatnot in the environment. So,
did you happen to watch the Digital Foundry video I mentioned?
No.
So, the Digital Foundry actually went over what made it a next-gen title. And like looking at the technical aspects of it, it's quite impressive actually. So like the ray tracing implementation is done so well that like it just looks natural. It looks normal. That's one of the things that I think is most impressive about it. You look at some ray tracing implemented games and something looks off. Like that's the best way to put it. Something looks off. Like your brain's like, oh yeah, this is 100% ray traced. Like you instantly know this is ray traced. Ratchet and Clank blended it so well with their actual graphic styling that it didn't take away from the like actual graphics they already had for the game, and it also enhanced them in several ways. And when you actually have seen in action what ways it enhanced it, it's rather impressive. And on top of that, I think one of the other more interesting aspects of Ratchet and Clank is if you do have it, it's one of the PS5 games that decided to do it did 30 FPS ray tracing in just straight 4K. It did 45 FPS ray tracing, I believe is what it was, in 1440 or 1800. I don't remember which one it was, but either way, it was it gave you a lot of options for the way to play this game. And as such, I think that's also a very big technical feat, because anything that gives people the options on how they're going to experience it and makes a console game more like its PC counterpart, I think is definitely worth talking about, because just in general, anything that allows you to have more options for your game makes it for a better experience. And I like that aspect of it. And then obviously I think it also had 1440p 60 FPS. And then I think a little bit lower than that, 60 FPS with ray tracing. And having all those options was really fucking cool. So that from a like technical standpoint, a very, very impressive game that is definitely next gen. But you really don't know unless you've done the research. And I think that's something to say about that as well. Because a lot of the times next gen games are super in your face.
Very true. Very true. But yeah, so that's all I have to say about that.
Okay. So we're giving it to Metroid Dread, but what about runners up?
I'm okay with the runners-up being what you said, Tales and No More Heroes.
Tales and No More
That's what I
Heroes.
was
Yeah.
thinking too.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
All right. So best new series entry goes to Metroid Dread. The runners up, Tales of Arise and No More Heroes 3.
Hey, let's go.
All right. Next category. Best pandemic games. Games to keep you busy. The pandemic that never ends.
Yeah.
And so nominees
Mr. Bonus
are
is Wild Ride.
I wrote some in here just as a cheeky thing, just as a joke. But yeah, okay. Go ahead and give your nominee.
all right, Resident Evil 8, Forza Horizon 5, Virtual Reality, Happy Home Paradise, Super Mario 3D World / Bowser's Inside Story. Not Inside Story. What is it? Bowser's... I put Inside Story, but that's not right.
Fury.
Fury. Yes. Correct.
Bowser's a fairy.
And It Takes Two. Those are nominees.
Okay.
There's some interesting nominees.
Mm-hmm.
So I put VR on here as a cheat. That's like quite literally just cheating. So I don't think that. Yeah, I don't think that can win. But I did want to put this on here for a very specific reason, and that's because I saw a lot of people getting into VR during the holidays, and a lot of VR headsets selling like hotcakes. They even had like the Best Buy I went to, they had to have a line where it was like, if you're getting a VR headset, that's this line, and that line was fucking huge. So I feel like VR is starting to get to the point where it's like more feasible for normal people, especially with things like the Quest 2 and the like. And as such, I think allowing people to play VR with each other through stuff like the wireless Quest 2, where it's just plug and play. It's not attaching to a computer or anything like that. It's just turn it on and you go, and being able to like integrate that with your Facebook friends. Granted, not a fan of the Facebook account needed for it, but I think for the everyday person, your dads, your moms, your whatever, just normal people that want to sit down and watch a movie that are like maybe fucking halfway across the world, being able to just put on that headset and like, chill with them in something like big screen and watch a movie, which is an actual movie theater that you can pay like $5 and go and have an actual theater experience in VR, which is super fucking neat. I've done it once. It was cool. Something like that is a really cool and interesting time. Sitting down, being able to like start a party, have the person appear in your little fake room, which is coming up very soon. It was already in the original Oculus Rift, but it's a new thing that was being added and worked on during the holidays. Didn't get released in time, but there's some video footage of it out there of what it's going to look like. Like, we make fun of the metaverse and joke around and everything, but in general, there's some really good ideas there for interaction, especially during things like the pandemic. So I kind of dig that. So if we were going for a cheating answer, I would just say VR in general, but like, there's some actual real contenders on here as well. But I just wanted to put VR on here so I could have that little conversation where it's like, I definitely see it helping people more so right now during the pandemic than it was when it first released. And it's quite impressive how far it's come.
I will say something cool about the whole VR stuff, actually. So this past weekend, MagFest was happening, and somebody made a virtual version of the hotel that MagFest occurs in.
Okay.
And what was really cool is there was a camera set up in the actual hotel that MagFest was happening in, and inside of the VR, so people who went to the Gaylord National Hotel in VR could talk to the people who were there in person and like communicate with each other.
That's so fucking cool.
And, like, interact. And I was like, that's
so
really cool, actually.
See, it's things like that that make VR like actually something very viable and important in these times, especially.
So I just thought it was really cool and worth mentioning.
I wish I had known about that. I would have checked it out. That'd have been fucking lit.
See, that's very cool. But no, I agree with that. Your sentiments on VR and whatnot. So
okay.
So let's go over the other ones that are here.
Yeah, Happy Home Paradise is the expansion for Animal Crossing New Horizon. Let you go and design houses that aren't yours, which is nice, and facilities. So you get to go through and you get to mess around, and you can have like different villagers come in and do things, and I mean, there's plenty to do.
Mhm.
And also, nice thing too is it's not like your island is not tied to like one specific person, so multiple people can go in and have their own little like archipelago of
Yeah.
islands houses to design. So it's a lot of fun. It adds a bunch of new features there, and it definitely is like standalone-ish on its own, which is nice. Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury. I mean, Super Mario 3D World's just such a fun multiplayer game on its own, which is great. They added online onto this, which I'm sure was shoddy, but it's there. So that's kind of cool. But I mean, even still, you can still play a 4-player at home. They sped up the game a bit, which is kind of nice. And then in terms of new content, they added Bowser's Fury, which is great. So I mean, it's pretty fantastic standalone thing, but it is also 2-player. You're gonna have a second person hop in and play as Bowser Jr. to kind of help you out and do different things. So I don't know. I mean, it's a fantastic game on its own. It was just nice to see it redone and brought to life on the Switch. So okay, that's my ones to comment on.
Yeah, I mean, it was already a good game for like families and that sort of thing. So
yeah,
re-releasing it on a console that people actually bought is always good.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, great idea. Then you can play it with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And the online thing. Ooh, now you can play with people who aren't there either.
Yeah, and also be very frustrated because of how badly it lags.
Or you can learn to live in a stop motion animation universe. That's kind of cool, right?
That's pretty neat. I like that idea.
Yeah. Be like, what would it be like if Mario stuttered every second? Well, now you know.
You know what? That's a very valid point.
Mm-hmm.
I never thought of it that way.
Very good.
All right. So those are those ones.
Nice. Nick, what'd you write on here?
I don't think I put any on here, honestly. Only because, like, I don't know. It's different than... We're still in the pandemic, but I feel like this year was different than... Or this past year was different than the first year. Whereas, like, my total escapism was playing Animal Crossing with my friends and doing, like, all the normal stuff we would do in Animal Crossing. But now that I am working full-time again, and, yeah, just dealing with that whole thing, like, my life is kind of mostly back to normal, for better or for worse. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe just normal games to me now.
Yeah, I feel the same kind of way, but I do think, at least from a gaming standpoint, on this list, there is one that stood out that brought a lot of people together, and I saw tons of people playing it.
Yeah.
I mean, and it won Game of the Year, so there's that. That should also show it. I think It Takes Two had so much cooperation and was such a uniquely put together game that felt like the equivalent of like playing 20 games inside of one of them at any given moment in time, that it was a very nice pandemic game because of the point that you were forced to play with someone online or in your own house. But online playing that game really did have that like coming together sort of deal. I mean, because that's like cooperation is literally what the game is built around. And yeah, that was one of those unique experiences that I think really did encapsulate the pandemic again last year for me in general. So there's that.
Okay.
It also helps that it's a really good fucking game.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know where I stand in this category, to be completely honest with you guys.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I guess my vote would be for Happy Home Paradise, only because I haven't been on vacation in over 2 years, but...
What's vacation? I don't even know what that is anymore.
We didn't even tackle Forza Horizon 5.
Okay, we'll tackle Forza Horizon 5. I'm pretty sure you put that on the list anyways.
Yeah, probably. Forza Horizon 5 was a really, really good game. That was a lot of fun to play with a group of people. And then on top of that, just in general, driving around, exploring the back roads, you know, it's very chill. It kind of, if you turn off their music and turn on yours instead, it's a very like vibing game, more or less. Like I could just drive around not doing anything for hours, especially when the game first came out. So I thought that was something that was really fun and kind of like an escapism sort of deal for me. Yeah, so I put that on this list because of that.
Okay, it's a good reason. I remember you played like 150 hours in the first 24 hours of that game.
Actually, I played about 150 hours before the game released because I got early access to it.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you know, there's that. Yikes.
Yeah. I don't know though. I agree with Nick. This is a hard category.
Yeah. I thought we were gonna actually drop this category for a while because, like, I don't know, it's kind of depressing, just in general.
What's depressing about staying home playing games, Brandon?
The fact that I have to. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Yeah, but on the flip side, if you have to stay home, at least you have good games to play.
Did 2021 give us a lot of good games?
I'm not allowed to stay home.
Yes.
Happy Home Paradise, Mario 3D World, It Takes Two. Those would be my 3 votes.
I feel like,
particular order.
Personally, for me, It Takes Two because of just the fact that the game kind of forced you to come together.
I would say that's fair. I mean, there's a lot of collaboration there. Obviously, the game is all collaboration, and you know, they kind of have to. It forces you to talk to somebody else. So
yeah, exactly.
That's why I added it to this list.
That's a good pick. I didn't even think about it. Also thought this list was going to get fucking trashed.
You almost did, but I was like, I should see if there's anything that can fit here. So, yeah. I mean, I give it to It Takes Two.
All right. Sounds good. That's my pick.
It Takes Two and runners up.
Happy Home Paradise. And
yeah, I think Nick's on board with that.
Yeah, I'm on board with that.
The ultimate winner, though, was VR this year. It did really great.
Is that what we want to give our other runner up to?
Oh man, I wish, but I think that's just cheating.
Okay.
You did put the kibosh on one of mine for like an in general thing. So
what's that?
Remember when I was like Blizzard in general when we were talking about Diablo 2 rematch? Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, no, that's totally fine. I just wanted to be able to discuss about how far VR had come and how it seems to be more accepted by the mainstay. Huh?
What'd
you say?
How far can it come?
I don't know. We'll see in the future, I guess.
How far can it go?
That's a good question.
I was looking for like a measurement.
Oh, this is how far it shoots at.
So do we want to give our last one to Mario 3D World?
Sure.
Yeah, that's fine.
I feel rude giving it to Resident Evil 8 or.
That's fine. Yeah. So It Takes Two, best pandemic game with runners up, Mario's 3D World, and Happy Home Paradise.
Nice.
Interesting VR stories that I saw since last week, though. Supposedly Half-Life Alyx is coming to PlayStation.
That's cool.
Say, and
awesome.
I guess Apple's supposed to be making a headset too.
I feel like the 2022 is going to be the year of people trying to get into the VR space and crypto space. Like that's going to be the two things you see the most: VR and crypto.
The interesting thing about Apple's rumor, because it came up because a copyright, I guess, came out today. But it's interesting because it doesn't require glasses if you like wear glasses.
Interesting.
Yes. Apparently, it adjusts the headset to your prescription.
So there are lenses you can buy, or things for your lenses that you can buy currently, but I don't know how expensive they are. I don't think they're very expensive, but like, yeah.
Yeah. So, because supposedly they're making something like, I don't know, Google Glass or whatever too. And so the tricky thing with something like that is like, it sucks if you have glasses. So apparently their copyright that they put in is like, it's some sort of glass like layers that if you do wear glasses, it will like change the glass somehow to like replicate your prescription. So you would be able to do it without your glasses, which is interesting. So instead of having to be comfortable, like, I don't know, when I played VR last, I mean, I had glasses on and it wasn't like the worst experience ever, but you're right. It's like a little bit of extra cumbersomeness that you wouldn't have.
I actually have something to add to that. So my Quest 2 and Katie's Quest 2, right? It came with a item inside the box called a glasses spacer. It actually makes it so, you know, it's more comfortable to wear the VR headset with glasses using this glasses spacer. It installs inside the headset itself. You pop off the original light cushioning, you put the glasses spacer inside of it, and then you pop back on the cushioning and adjust it. And like Katie's had no complaints whatsoever using it since we put it in her headset.
Yeah.
So I do feel like it's not as cumbersome as it used to be. But having it where you don't even have to worry about it at all would be really awesome. But it has gotten better, in my opinion.
Well, especially if they're doing something like an AR headset or AR glasses or whatever they're talking about. Something like that would be wild. Because it'd almost be like, hey, here's a second pair of glasses you can just wear all the time. You don't have to worry about it.
True.
Yeah. But no, it's neat. I don't know. You guys know, I like new tech stuff.
Me too.
I'm like, oh, that's really cool.
It's
I've
fun.
never thought about something like that before. So, yeah. Anyways, ready for the next category?
Yeah, sure.
All right, next category. Most anticipated upcoming game for 2022. Nominees are Breath of the Wild 2, Bayonetta 3, Pokemon Legends Arceus, Splatoon 3, Elden Ring, and, I don't know, an original game. But nobody can think of one to put on here.
I can actually think of one.
Okay.
Let me see who's making this, because then I can remember the name of it. Oh, yep. There it is. Original game, Ghostwire Tokyo.
But that came out.
Nope, it was delayed for 2 years. Still
Nice.
hasn't released.
Very cool.
Yeah, they just were not ready to release it. So, comes out this year, supposedly.
Sure.
Okay.
Hmm.
I mean, I guess we should talk about why we put them on there. I mean, Breath of the Wild 2. Zelda games are always exciting. Always had lots of new stuff. Breath of the Wild was obviously like a game changer for game design. Really shifted the focus of where things were the last couple of years.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see what... I mean, Nintendo, especially with Zelda stuff, they never tend to release like sequels. Like they always like to fuck with things.
Yeah.
Like even when they use the same engine with Ocarina of Time, like
They had the
Majora's
time
Mask came out
mechanic,
wildly
Majora's
different.
Mask. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, with Wind Waker, they used the same engine, and what popped out? Fucking Twilight Princess. Like nobody would have guessed that. So, I mean, Breath of the Wild 2, it's like, yeah, it's a sequel. They're using the same engine. Who fucking knows what's gonna pop out? We already know there's like crazy like sky shit going on and some big green glowing hands. And I don't know, you're popping out of the ground and doing some weird time power shit. So something wild's gonna happen. Like I'm not expecting this game to be like, hey, here's more Breath of the Wild.
And you know what? I'm sorry.
Oh, you can say what you're gonna say.
I was gonna say I totally agree with what you're saying right now, but I also have a little bit of a reserve because we have so many games that are like Breath of the Wild right now. Like, what if someone beats them to it and they do it better? That's the only concern I have about Breath of the Wild 2 right now.
But have you ever seen anyone beat Nintendo to the Zelda punch and do it better?
No.
Because it's always Nintendo sets the trend and then everyone copies it.
And
like, they always come up with something wild.
You're right.
So like I said, I don't disagree with you. If someone did beat him to the punch and do it, there's that. But they're like so tight-lipped about the shit that's going on with Zelda that it always just comes out of left field, and they're just like, "Oh shit, here we are." So this, and I guess too, you do have people that try to rush and beat him to it, but it just ends up being like a shitty, like it's just like, hey, we're just trying to rush to beat them to us, and this is our shitty try. Yep. So, but that's also why Nintendo keeps that stuff to their chest till like 6 months out. They're like, hey. Good luck.
But I guess what I was going to say with this point, like in general, is we've seen many Breath of the Wild like clones lately, like a ton of them, and there's more coming out, obviously.
Oh yeah,
and some of them I would honestly argue made a lot of quality of life choices that made them play better in some aspects. And if you take all of those iterations on Breath of the Wild and combine it in and do something just different yourself before Nintendo does something different, it's possible that you could have a game that's like, damn, that's a really cool Breath of the Wild clone. And then you have Breath of the Wild 2 come out and you could have the aspect where it's like, Breath of the Wild 2 is a great Breath of the Wild game, but there was something about insert game title here that came out before it that you liked more, or that resonated more with a group of people or whatever.
No, I get what you're saying there, Brandon, but I think my point with what I was saying was like, with the Zelda games, it's never your like Majora's Mask was not an Ocarina of Time clone.
Oh yeah,
like nothing.
absolutely.
They are. It's never the next game is never what just came before it with just like some more stuff. Like it's always just like radically different. I mean,
and I agree with that. But what I meant was like something like take for instance Star Fox. All right, Star Fox Zero existed. It did something radically different. Didn't quite land. What if we have an aspect like that with Breath of the Wild 2, but some game comes before it that's a cloned game, and it's like, oh shit, this actually landed better than Nintendo's.
I don't think Nintendo would make such a risk like that with Zelda games.
Yeah, not with Zelda. Like any of the other franchises, I would say, yeah, sure, maybe. But Zelda just like their track record is just to like go somewhere radically different where no one thinks they're gonna go, and like it's too unpredictable to guess that it's gonna be what it is, and it's not even safe enough to guess that it's like going to be like Breath of the Wild, because I don't expect this to even be like Breath of the Wild.
I'm not even necessarily saying that the person that made a Breath of the Wild clone was guessing what Nintendo would do. I'm just saying that like they did something that resonated more with a group of people than Breath of the Wild 2 does in the end. Because there are several people that didn't like the original Breath of the Wild.
But you could say that for any game, though.
No. I do definitely understand that. I'm just saying, like, I feel like with all the Breath of the Wild clones we have going on right now, we could have that one breakout one that gets released before Breath of the Wild 2, and it's just like, I like that one more when Breath of the Wild 2 does come out.
It's going to have like, some aspect of that, and there's going to be different things that resonate with other people. I mean, the next game that's on here, Bayonetta 3, like that falls exactly into what you're saying.
Absolutely, it does.
Like, odds are, statistically speaking, someone has made a better game in this genre before Bayonetta 3 has come out.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But part of that is you know exactly what you're getting with Bayonetta 3
clones right now. That was my main point. Like you don't see a bunch of character action games currently being made. You see a shit ton of things on E3, on whatever winter games release, game of the year, whatever, that sort of thing. You saw a shit ton where it's like, that looks like Breath of the Wild, and then
But as I said, I think my point is like I don't think that we're gonna be like Breath of the Wild 2 is not gonna be like that looks like Breath of the Wild, but it's gonna be like what the fuck did they do?
And I hope that is the case. Yeah. I could have said the same thing about Elden Ring, which is also on here. It looks like Dark Souls, but in my case, at least for Elden Ring, I've already played the game, so I'm like, I know what I'm getting into, and I'm super anticipating it because of that aspect, not because like of the mysticism of what's coming, that sort of deal.
Yeah, no, that's it. But Bayonetta 3, I mean, like that one's definitely more like, hey, we're excited for Mary Bayonetta, and like, but I mean, with their track record and what we got, with Bayonetta 2, like, it was a great game, but that one did build iteratively off Bayonetta 1. So I mean, you kind of expect Bayonetta 3 to be like kind of more of the same, not a bad more of the same. I mean, like a great more of the same. But it's not going to, like, I don't expect Bayonetta 3 to deviate wildly from what came before it.
Me neither, but I also don't expect to see a shit ton of clones leading up to Bayonetta 3
coming it's not out. A super popular genre right now.
Exactly.
So, but I mean, I am excited for Bayonetta 3.
The point is, like, Bayonetta 3 is not going to be oversaturated before it hits the market, is what I'm saying.
But this might be a weird take, I don't feel like it can be Zelda can be oversaturated, because I feel like what's going to happen is you can have a lot of games that are attempting to do the Breath of the Wild thing, but then once Breath of the Wild 2 comes out, none of that shit matters.
That's true. That is also very true. But like, I'm not saying Zelda is the thing that's being oversaturated. I'm saying specifically Breath of the Wild is the thing that was being oversaturated. Like it's formula, but like Mike said, and he's right, having that aspect of Nintendo always doing something just totally out of left field for their games really does like change that up. And that worry, I don't really have that worry now that we're like actually talking about it, but I did kind of have that, I had that thought initially.
Yeah. And that's why I would say that probably the closest scenario we've had to this that like I think would kind of like Ocarina of Time when it came out, like just totally shook up like that whole genre, and then you got tons of Ocarina of Time clones. And then Majora's Mask came out and was just like, I'm totally fucking different.
Yep.
Surprise. Like, you couldn't have guessed this. Nobody's even tried to think of something like this. So, did it necessarily mean it's a better game? No, because you're right. Like, a lot of people looked at Majora's Mask. Like, Majora's Mask is one of my favorite Zelda games, but it's definitely not a lot of other people's favorite Zelda games. So, like, does that necessarily mean that formula is going to be, like, better, whatever they come out with? No. But I'm just saying, like, I don't expect it to be, like, here's the same overworld with, like, some new quests, like you get with some games, you know? And it's just like, here, we just gave you a new story in the same world. Like, I think this is going to be something drastically different, for better or worse. It's just that for some people. So, you never know. Like Wind Waker, a lot of people are like, hey, we're using the same engine that we used for Wind Waker for our next game. Like, oh, cool. Then you got Twilight Princess, which was, for better or worse, drastically different than what they'd done before it. So, who knows? Who knows what you're getting? You just know it is going to be a Zelda game. Triforce is probably going to be there, along with the princess and some dude with a bow and arrow. So, and a bad guy. Who knows what bad? Maybe he'll be pig bad guy. Maybe he'll be human bad guy. Maybe he'll be fart swirling castle bad guy. We don't know which one.
So much variety.
Dear Mario. Oh my god, Nick, I cannot. That video you posted last week.
Oh, no. Yeah, we came back in, and that was the first thing we looked at. Mario.
You know what's funny? I found that towards the end of the episode, and I had to mute myself because I was laughing really hard.
It's fucking brilliant.
I don't think you even said anything about it. I think you just kind of left it there.
I did.
Yeah.
And what's funny, I just love that, like, it's not even the fact that it's the fart sound, it's the fact that written out on the piece of paper is reverb fart SFX.
Holy shit. Yeah,
that is just a great fart sound.
It sure is.
It's got a lot of depth.
Anyways, moving on this list, Pokemon Legends Arceus. This one's a grab bag. I don't know what to expect with this. Could be good. Could be bad. I'm not sure. I have no fucking clue.
I don't look forward to this.
I mean, it's not the greatest looking thing that's ever been put out graphically. I can already tell you that.
I mean, even from a non-graphical standpoint, everything they've shown us, the little bit that they've shown us, I've just been like, okay.
Yeah, I think the most interesting thing here is that it's a huge deviation from the Pokemon formula. They're like, hey, I guess when we're talking about, like we were talking about with the IP thing, it's like, hey, look at this is a game from this IP, and it's just drastically different. You know, you don't have the turn-based battles anymore. They're going to more like a real-time kind of battle system.
Didn't they show turn-based battles in the most recent trailer?
It's not. It's turn-based more like Final Fantasy like 4 was, not turn-based like Pokemon is traditionally, where it's like everything has its own speed, and the Pokemon have their own speed. So depending on and different play styles of the Pokemon have different speeds. So if you go with a certain play style, you might get 3 attacks before the next Pokemon gets 1, as opposed to like alternating back and forth. It's weird. Like, it's hard for me to wrap my head around with like the snippets that they've shown in like the videos. So you got that, like you when you get to a battle, it just starts. Like, you don't go into like a different screen or anything. It's just there out in the open, and it looks like other Pokemon just might be able to like stumble in the middle of it, possibly based on the videos that we've seen. So, I mean, that's pretty wild. And then you got the whole kind of like Monster Hunter-esque thing.
Yeah, it's got a definite Monster Hunter vibe going on here.
Yeah. So they're definitely switching things up. It's hard to tell, but like they've shown so little of this game, with it being a month out. I have no fucking clue what to think of it.
This is not even a month out. This is like 3 weeks away.
I know. Actually, it is 10 days away currently.
Oh my god.
So I'm excited, but I don't know what the fuck I'm going to get. It could be good. It could be bad. I don't know. So we will see. I mean, some of the Pokemon spin-offs have been like good. Like I was talking about Pokemon Conquest. That was a pretty good spin-off. Like, I really enjoyed it. The original Pokemon Snap, super interesting. Like, hey, look, they tried something wild. But then they also had new Pokemon Snap, which takes a great idea and totally shits on it.
Yeah.
So who knows? Who knows what you're getting?
The
Could be
literal
anything.
like top comments of this video, Mike, are
Mhm.
this. I'm both excited and terrified for this one. I'm expecting the worst, but I'm hoping for the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm prepared to either have my new favorite game or be massively let down. There will be no in between. That was
Yeah.
the 3 top comments
And
for
that is
this
exactly
one
how
video.
I feel. Yeah. That is exactly how I feel. Like, I literally do not know how to feel about this game. It could be anything. I
Yeah,
have no
honestly,
fucking
it could
clue.
even be a boat.
Yeah. It could be a fucking boat. We won't know. We won't know for 10 more days.
I wonder if anyone actually got that reference.
But I guess on the flip side, though, they're anticipating this game to leak very soon. So we should know by next week's episode what people are thinking
I mean,
about
I'll
it.
probably know in like a few hours.
Yeah, I mean, they're saying like tomorrow or the next day.
That's why I said a few hours.
Yeah. So it's happening. But yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I'm hoping for the best, but I'm prepared for the worst. It is a game I've already pre-ordered it. I'm set on getting it regardless of what it comes out as. I mean, you know how it was with Pokemon. You knew this was going to happen.
Yeah, I know.
After the last couple months of my addiction, like it's bound to happen. I need those Pokemon for my Pokedex, Brandon. I can't just let the Pokedex remain empty.
Shit, man, I didn't think about that. So, want to touch on the other ones that are here?
No. Yeah, we can.
Yeah, okay, so we got Splatoon 3.
Yeah. I'm
I
actually
liked
really
1 and
excited
2.
for that. Yeah, 1 and 2 is really good, but I'm interested to see the direction they're going to take 3 because it seems like they're going and leaning heavily into like the weirder side of that series.
Mm-hmm.
And I just really want to see more of that.
I just want more story stuff, to be honest.
Did they say that was coming out in 2022?
I
Splatoon 3? Yes.
think so.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yep. It is coming out this year.
Okay.
I think rumors have it listed as like a first half release. Like
What?
March.
Okay,
March or
that's
April.
weird. We haven't heard anything about it yet. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they've done 2 things for it now. They did the initial trailer and then the last direct. I don't know if you remember bitching about them talking about it for 5 minutes, because I always hate when they do that, but they did. They just talk about this game for like 5 minutes. So,
cool.
I mean, Splatoon's great. It's always a great time.
Mhm.
It's one of the few like competitive multiplayer games I actually enjoy for a couple days. But who knows? I mean, it still is a mystery. We know that they're going to add more stuff into it. I think we were talking about it too. Like they kind of, at least based on like precedent, it looks like the direction of the sequels has to do with the final Splatfest.
Mm-hmm.
And like, because I think the one before it was like had to do with which person was like kidnapped or whatever, and this one was like chaos or order or something, and like chaos won. So now it looks like the world's just in chaos because it's like, and the Octoling expansion set up the whole like post-apocalyptic world thing. So like you're living in a world that was previously inhabited by humans and world dead or whatever, and so now like the Octolings and the Inklings have taken over, and they rule the world now.
Okay.
Because I mean, Splatoon 3 in the trailer they showed it like what, an upside down Eiffel Tower or something.
Oh yeah. Off in the distance, right? When they got on the bus or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember now.
And then there was this, and the other thing with this one too, it looks like they added vehicles. If I remember, like there was like animal vehicles or something. Oh, there's that. Remember that thing? I remember now because they're like, what happened to the mammals? That was in the last direct, or they set up that whole story. Like, what happened to the mammals? I don't know. Don't care. So
don't give a shit.
But I do always like the story mode for these is like bare bones, but it's just kind of interesting. The best story was from the Octolings expansion. Octolings expansion was wild. And if you didn't play that with Splatoon 2, I do highly recommend that. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with this. The Octoling expansion, if they're going to add expansion stuff to Nintendo Switch Online, the expansion pack stuff, like that's one to add in there. Because it'd be cool if you have it to play it, like it's a fun value. But it's not like you're turning things on and off inside the main game. Like that should be a shoe-in for people to try out. But I don't know. I digress. But Splatoon 3 looks exciting. Like I'm excited, but we just don't know much about it. So yeah, I don't know. You want to talk about Elden Ring again?
I do. I'm sorry. Elden Ring is really good. I've already played it. I'm super excited to play more of this game. I like the open world aspect of it. I know I just talked about Breath of the Wild clones for about 5 hours, but Elden Ring is probably going to be the best Breath of the Wild clone. Because it's also Dark Souls, and Dark Souls is good, but this is even better because it feels like it's a living world, and I really dig that quite a lot. And it doesn't feel as dead, and I really like the lushness of it, and it's really neat and cool, and I enjoyed my time with it, and I just really want to play more.
Okay.
Ta-da!
Ta-da.
And last one, we wanted an original game, so I added Ghostwire Tokyo on this list. I've been actually looking forward to this game since it was originally announced, when we knew very little about it. But now that we like learned more about it and like seen that it's like sort of like a horror adventure game where like you have like special powers and that sort of deal. And it seems like you're existing in a like really weird, demented version of Tokyo in an open world kind of aspect, and you're having to fight all these like mythological creatures from different like Japanese folklore. It looks really fucking cool, and I think that's a very unique kind of idea for a game. So I've been looking forward to this because you got like hand-to-hand combat, and then you also have like beam powers, like you can shoot like beams and shit like that, and like throw fireballs and that sort of deal. But it's also sort of a horror adventure game, so there's just so much here that makes it seems very different from many other games. That it's an original game. We were looking for an original game, and I thought about it when I saw the original game question mark written on the list, and I don't think it can really get much more original than this one, to be honest.
Okay.
So that's where I stand.
Okay.
I'm actually kind of curious what's going to happen to Ghostwire Tokyo now, because I think Bethesda is the one that's making it, possibly?
No, Bethesda is publishing it, and Tango Gameworks is making it.
Does that mean that it's now, like, Microsoft exclusive? Because it's listed on PlayStation 5, but now it's listed as TBA when it was listed originally as 2022. So I'm actually very confused where this is going now.
That's not loading, actually. Oh, no, there we go. So on the official website for Ghostwire Tokyo, it says it's specifically touting its graphical power on the PS5. So it might be one of those, like, last games, but...
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
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 All right, that's it. That's the end.
All right. So what are y'all excited for?
Honestly, the only ones I'm really excited for are like Pokemon and Splatoon. The rest I could give a hot shit about. So
mine's Elden Ring and Ghostwire Tokyo.
I mean, I could get behind Pokemon.
Bayonetta 3 also. Fuck.
All of my interest in Ghostwire left when what's her name left, the director.
That's fair.
All right,
that's fair.
Pretty good now.
That's fair. I forgot she left.
Yeah.
I still hope to be surprised by it, but like we were looking for an original game, and I think that this fit that mold basically.
It's very true. It definitely fits that mold.
Now, you know what? Now that you've mentioned that, it's probably Elden Ring and Bayonetta 3 for me.
And what else?
I'm thinking. I have tepid interest in Pokemon Arceus, but like I'm more scared about that.
That's also fair.
I'm more scared about what that could become. Like if the original rumor of like going really weird where it has a games as a service model built into it as well. If like that is what it becomes, that like gives Nintendo an out, and I think is going to make Nintendo a worse company if it does well, like in the long run, if they start adding that sort of shit to their kind of game. So I'm more worried about Arceus than I am excited because of the original rumors, and I hope those are false, and I hope it's more... the original rumors that came out about a month or two ago about Pokemon Arceus having a lot of games as a service elements to them. those sort of things that are like battle pass systems or not loot boxes, but things like check-in dailies, do this and get this kind of get so much experience to get a certain thing you need, but check in every day. And, the kind of thing you see in a mobile game.
Okay.
Oh yeah. No, I was talking about, I've been following the rumors really closely, and this is the first time I've heard this.
I heard about it like 2 months ago.
Yeah, because I've been stupid following like the rumors, and I've not seen anything that's hinted at any even sort of DLC yet for this game. Because it just seems like they're taking like a wait and see approach. It doesn't sound like there's any in there. I mean, there could be, because we don't know, because there's not much that they've said about this game.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's where they're going with it, to be honest. I've not seen any like hook that makes me think that this is going to be a games as a service thing.
And I hope it's not. And yeah.
And we don't have anything to even say that that's something that they would do. They've not done anything. I mean, we talked about how disgusting it would be if the Pokemon Company has done this.
Yes.
But aside from like Pokemon Unite, they really haven't. And not with anything that's pseudo mainline. And this is more of like a mainline Pokemon game than anything that's not a mainline game. So it's about as tangential to the mainline series as you can get. So I don't know. I don't think that's where they're going to go with it.
And I hope that isn't.
But I mean, I'd be willing to give it to Pokemon Arceus just because it's such a crapshoot. It's like betting on Wall Street.
Wait, giving it to anticipation of what the fuck's going to happen to Pokemon Arceus?
Yeah, I'm more anticipated to see what the fuck's going on with it. I don't even know if it's going to be good. I mean, this is not going to be the best game of 2022. This is most anticipated. And we could be anticipating because it's a shit show. And honestly,
you know what?
I'm down for that too.
That's fair. That is very fair. That's a very fair point. You know what? I'll give it to Arceus because, if it's a shit show, it's going to be one to follow. It's going to be the likes of okay, so follow me for a second here. If this becomes a shit show, I'm not saying the quality of it is going to be like Cyberpunk, but I think the news stories and shit that we will see will be similar to the likes of Cyberpunk, of how often people talk about it and the shit show that it is, if it is one.
I agree. I don't think this is going to be like a Cyberpunk type thing because
unfinished garbage.
Because Nintendo's still involved, and they're not going to let it come out as unfinished garbage. Like, let's be honest. But I mean, it could be a new Pokemon Snap, which is like, the fuck were they thinking with this game? It'll still be like, it's a solid game, but just like, we don't know where
it could be more so like Nintendo's version of unfinished garbage is then be like, the game is done, everybody's like, where's the content? And then Nintendo's like, that is the content. And we're like, oh, okay. Cool. So it's like, it's unfinished, not like Cyberpunk was left unfinished. But it's almost like you're getting a plain cake donut versus a donut that has been baked all the way through. You know what I mean?
Or even like I guess another example that Nintendo has would be like Luigi's Mansion. They're like, hey, here's a great game, but it's 2 hours long.
Yeah.
Like it's finished, but
the zebra stripe of games, if you will.
Yeah. Here's a quick burst, and you go. But like I said, I agree with those YouTube comments too. It's like this is either going to be like one of the best games that comes out this year, or one of the worst. There's no in between. This game's not going to be like a 5. It's going to be either a 10 or a 0.
Yep.
Nothing else. And like I said, I think that is why this is the most anticipated game for me, because I don't know what it's going to be.
Yep, I agree. I can't believe I agree, but I agree very much so.
And I feel like almost everything else, we kind of have an idea of where it's going to fall. Like Breath of the Wild 2, it is going to probably be a really good game, but we know it's going to be a really good game.
Yeah.
Well, I think the better explanation for that for Breath of the Wild 2 is even if it's not a good game, people will say it's a good game.
You're right.
Breath of the Wild 1 is not a good game, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, it's the best Zelda." I'm like, no, fuck you. Even as somebody who doesn't play Zelda games, I can tell you with full force that is not the best representation of that series.
Well, you know what though?
It's gonna be like, okay.
Zelda has the same kind of cycle that Sonic does.
Oh no.
What?
No,
different. But it's not like it's the next Zelda game is always the most anticipated one. Then it comes out and everyone thinks it's the worst one, and then like the last one was like the best one. Yeah, and then because everyone's gonna be like, "Oh my god!" Like once the new one comes out, they'll be like, "Oh my god!" Like, well, actually, no, it happened with Breath of the Wild because everyone was like, oh my god, Skyward Sword, so great, I miss it. And nobody loved Skyward Sword when it came out.
I didn't hear from anyone that Skyward Sword is so great. I miss it. I'm pretty sure it's like universally agreed upon that Skyward Sword is trash.
People were like, you remember before they announced the remake, people were clamoring for it.
I do not. I have no idea where you are getting this fever dream.
People were clamoring for it.
I feel like this is not true in the least bit.
Well, I was clamoring for it. And
are you people? Are you multiple people?
I am multiple people. But okay. I did see other people being like, oh my god, I think this is coming, and I'm really excited for it. And not to mention, Aonuma had been rumoring it for years, so there's like that little buildup of hype for it. Like, it's just, that's what they do. There's that whole cycle. It's like, everyone hated Wind Waker when it came out. And it's like one of the most like loved Zelda games now.
I didn't hate Wind Waker when it came out.
But a lot of people did because they're like, it's too cartoony. Yeah. It's to kids.
The I still like Wind Waker just as much then as I do now.
But that's not everyone. And that game has come. That game definitively went full circle. Where it was one of the most reviled Zelda games to being one of the most loved Zelda games.
Well, the problem was fucking Space World. Space World. That was the problem.
Space World did fuck that game up pretty bad.
Yeah.
But it also follows through with what I was saying too. Like, the game was never bad. People complained about it,
and
it had some issues, but it was never a bad game. But yeah, like I said,
all the issues were actually fixed in the Wii U version too. And then we didn't get a re-release of it on Switch, which I kind of wish we would.
But I'd say if I was going to go for my 3 on this one, and it is going to come out. I think it's coming out this year.
What, Wind Waker?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so.
They ported almost everything else over from Wii U. Like, it's just like, when do we have?
Well, we don't have Twilight Princess yet.
They're gonna come out at the same time. I think they'll either do a dual pack or they're gonna release them back to back. And I think they'll probably I bet they'll do like a $40 each, but if you buy them together, you get them for $60 kind of thing.
Probably.
But I think they're gonna use them to plug some like lull in like the summertime, and they'll use it as like advertising for Breath of the Wild too. Whatever that ends up being. They'll be like, hey guys, while you're waiting for Zelda, why don't you play these ones again?
Or Zelda.
While you wait for Zelda, why don't you play some Zelda?
But I'd say if I was gonna do my 3, Arceus, I'd probably do number 1. Just because it's so like, who fucking knows what it's gonna be. I would stick Bayonetta up there.
Yes.
Just because I think it kind of falls similarly to the other ones. Like, I don't know exactly how it's gonna be. I hope it's gonna be great, and it probably will be good. But I just like Bayonetta, and it'll just be fun to see. Yeah. And then probably I put my other one maybe like Splatoon.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It's fine.
Like, I think
just to get this over with, that's fine.
What do you think, Nick? Yeah?
I mean, like I said, like, I'm really only excited about 2 games.
And 2 of them are on this list.
Like, tentative excitement, too, because, like, I don't know if Pokemon Arceus is going to be good.
Hey, what if it's bad? And then we can at least talk about it for how bad it is.
I'll have so much shit to talk.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we blasted Pokemon Snap for weeks, and then we still brought it up in Game of the Year to shit on it again.
I wasn't done with you.
I really didn't like Pokemon Snap. I'm not gonna lie.
No, I mean, we gave it our most disappointing Game of the Year.
Yeah, we did, didn't we?
I don't know. What did we get most disappointing? It made the list. It was at least the runner-up. I don't remember.
Yeah, I wish now that I've actually finished Far Cry 6, because I've actually 100, like, all Far Cry 6 is done. The ending is so absolutely garbage that I want to spoil it right now. Can I?
I guess.
Okay. The ending to Far Cry 6 is you have fought through all these people and you get up to the place and Carlos Despacito is dying of the big C word, the big cancer. He's a dying, you know, and he wants his son to take on, you know, his thing, you know, take over as the big dictator, evil man and everything. And you're trying to tell him there's other ways. He doesn't have to be like his father, and his father is like talking to you about lies and this, that, and the other and everything. And then his father says, and I quote, "Can I trust you to take care of my son?" You say, yes, you can. And he just shouts, lies. And then he hugs his son, shoots him 3 times in the heart, then grabs a karambit knife and slits his own throat and dies on the floor next to him. The end.
Love it.
So all this time where you were hunting him down and going through so many fetch quest and bullshit follow along missions and everything, and trying to, liberate the place and everything and bring an end to his tyranny and hopefully stop the spread of the dictatorship and everything and help his son. Yeah, you have that taken away from you in like the last 30 seconds. You don't even have an option to save him or anything. He just straight up kills his own son and slits his own throat, and then the game ends.
Very cool.
Perfect.
And I was just like, that's it? There's no way that's the ending. And that was actually the ending. And I was so fucking annoyed. And then my friend was like, let's play the DLC at least. And then I played the DLC, and holy shit, the DLC the 2 hours of the DLC that I played was better than the entirety of the main game. Because the 2 hours of the DLC I played is literally a roguelite game where you play as the main villain from Far Cry 3 and his broken psyche just as he's about to die and breathe his final breath, and it's him going through all of his broken up memories and like reliving how he became Voss, the bad guy from Far Cry 3, and seeing everything that led to that point, but doing that as a roguelite, and it's super fucking cool, and it's so trippy, and it's super neat, and it's a really, really good DLC attached to a incredibly bad game.
They usually do good DLCs for those.
It has nothing to do with Far Cry 6, though. If they sold it as a standalone, I would literally... Blood... you mean Blood Dragon?
Same thing.
That was a standalone game.
But it was a DLC first. Then they sold it as a standalone.
No, it sold only as a standalone game.
Are you sure? I'm pretty sure.
I'm sure it was included in the season pass and then sold as a standalone game when it released.
Yeah, so exactly.
That's not a DLC. You didn't have to have Far Cry 3 in order to play Blood Dragon.
You can always download it by itself.
I thought it came out originally as you had to have it, and then they sold it separately.
No, it was just included as one of those things where like, buy the season pass and also get this game.
No, I don't remember. I just remember having the game.
It was like New Dawn, where it's like, buy the season pass and also get the remaster of Far Cry 3, which was a really shitty remaster that no one talks about because it literally did nothing to make it a remaster.
Yeah, fair. Anyways, we done with this category?
Far Cry 6 sucks dick.
All right.
I'm sorry. We're done with this category. Fuck Far Cry 6.
Most anticipated game for 2022. Pokemon Legends Arceus, runners-up Bayonetta 3, and Splatoon 3.
Biggest piece of shit, 2021, Far Cry 6. That game made me angry.
I know it did.
No, I streamed it like this last week, and I streamed the ending of it, right?
Uh-huh.
And when I got to the ending, I was so angry because I felt like I just wasted my time playing this game. Like, I've never so much so had a game put me through so much bullshit with being so broken and such a just piece of shit to play, and then its ending being so bad that I felt like the game was laughing at me for wasting my time on it.
Huh?
I was so angry.
Maybe
fuck Far Cry 6.
Far Cry 7 will be better.
Nah, I think I'm done with those. Unless my friend buys me another copy and forces me to fucking play with him.
All right. You guys ready to wrap it up?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening to us in the Special Game of the Year episodes.
Yeah.
If you want to find us, we're on iTunes, Stitcher, Google, Amazon, or you can check us out on the website, game-crunch.com.
Yep.
If you want to reach out to us, we're on Facebook, Twitter, or you can send us email, gamecrunchcast@gmail.com.
Yep.
Brandon, anything to send out on?
I'm playing games every Saturday at 7 p.m. Drop by and say hi at twitch.tv/KagadoSuka. And it's fun, and I enjoy it. Maybe don't drop by this upcoming week because I'll be finishing a game I've already been playing, so you're going to literally come in at the ending during like the last 3 chapters. So you might not want to do that. But I have been playing through the entirety of the Dark Pictures anthology. Man, those games are really fucking good. Like, really good. I don't know why they were so poorly received when it first released. every single one of them have been really fun. And I'm playing House of Ashes right now, which is quite literally a horror game taking place during a military conflict, and it's super fucking cool.
Okay. Nikki?
What? I've got nothing.
You got anything?
Nick's just like woke up. He's like, "Where am I?"
Threw me for a loop.
What have I been?
No, I know where I've been.
Am I alive or am I dead?
I wasn't prepared for that.
All right. And with that said, my name is Mike Anastasia. Find me online. I'm Clutch Penguin on Twitter, your favorite game console. Until next week, game on.
Game on. He speedruns Mario like fucking 27 hours a day, so
that's pretty intense. That's too much.
He added extra hours to the day so that he could speedrun Mario.
It's like the episode of Doug where they had the whole extra day of the week called Fun Day. All right, anyways.
All right, let's continue.
No, I remember there was an episode of Doug, I remember, where he turns into Quail Man. And I don't know, he slows down the Earth's rotation or something, and adds a whole extra day of the week. Which now that I think about it, really doesn't make sense. Because that would just make your days longer. It wouldn't give you an extra day.
No.
Yeah. So Doug, you fucked up. Yeah. All right, anyways.
Yeah, Quailman used his weekend blaster to put the weekends back on the calendar all over Earth, and he also used the weekend blaster to create Fun Day, a new day of the week.
Oh, well,
and that was an episode where he battled the Rule Master. Season 2, episode 7A.
I thought a weekend blaster is like when you just start taking just massive amounts of drugs on like Friday and
sounds about right.
Monday.
Yeah, that's where he did the extra day of the week is Fun Day.
Fun Day, known by its other name as the Monday that you called out sick.
Yes.
Anyways, on to Game of the Year stuff.